Welcome to our video about a new and very advanced local currency system. I'm going to demonstrate how a community anywhere in the world can develop and promote local sustainable commerce using a local currency, and how powerful tools can now bring local currencies into the 21st century. I will start by demonstrating the workings of such a system, and then later discuss more about the structure and philosophy behind this concept. Local currencies, sometimes called alternative currencies, community currencies, or complementary currencies, have been around for a long time, but have received increased attention in recent years as economic disruption has caused many people to rethink and examine the foundations of our economic and monetary systems. Many people are asking if there might be a better way to take back control of our economy, our jobs, and the economic future of our communities. Suppose that you want to promote small business growth, employment, and increased self-sufficiency within your community, and you want to use a local currency as a means to help to further these aims. I will demonstrate how this can be done in a process that is remarkably easy to set up and to implement. I am going to explain a concept called LocalMart. LocalMart is a marketplace for locally produced, sustainable goods and services using an alternative currency for payment and having the objective of creating sustainable local economies. In the LocalMart system, the first step is that we set up a social networking site for your project. We will call this LocalMart Our Town. Shortly after setup, John Locavore joins, and he agrees to be the local administrator for LocalMart Our Town, and you, Terry Locavore, want to join. Clicking on the Sign Up button leads you through a simple sign-up process which gathers the information for your membership. If you choose to be both a consumer and provider of goods and services, you can so designate. There are no fees to join and no periodic fees to remain a member. Your membership was approved by the local administrator, and, unless you choose otherwise, an announcement of your joining will display on the site. You can now sign into the site and use its many features. Like other social networking sites, you can set up your personal page with a photo and information about yourself and perhaps about products and services that you will be offering if you are a provider. Remember that LocalMart Our Town is a site for approved members only, and so privacy concerns are lessened compared with other well-known social networking sites. You can also participate in many activities such as communicating with other members, starting a blog, or starting or joining a group, just to name a few. For example, you might want to start a local gardens group, which would serve as a means for local gardeners to pool their produce and provide it on LocalMart Our Town. You might want to post an event notice to announce an organizational meeting. Looking on the right side of the page, there is a provision for members to place small ads for their goods or services. At the top are links to several features, including groups, and if you were to click on that tab, you could link to a local gardens group, which you have now started in order to continue the discussion about your business idea. Let's now examine some of the really unique and powerful features of LocalMart and see what makes it so far advanced over other local currency systems. On the left side of the home page is a link, Proceed to LocalMart's store. This leads us to the store where you can view and purchase LocalMart goods and services, and where you can list on your own page your products and services such as the ones that you have been planning to offer. You will note many categories of products and services in the store, and there can be many subcategories under each category. Your local gardens event and support from your local gardens group has resulted in significant interest, and you have now set up a small business called Our Town Local Gardens, in which you collect and redistribute, as a type of CSA, the various produce from local gardens. You have offered this as weekly shares on your products page. Going back to the social networking site, you have also had the local administrator place a small ad with a link to your products on the home page. You paid him a fee, in local currency of course, for this service. I will explain more about the financial transactions later. A LocalMart member views your store offerings, and as with a typical e-commerce site, enters items into the shopping cart and checks out. The difference is that there is only one payment option, and that is the local currency. Here, a LocalMart Our Town member has purchased 13 weekly shares of your produce and paid you accordingly. An invoice for the transaction has been generated and emailed to both you and to the customer. Now you might ask, how did the customer obtain the local currency to purchase your products? Well, there are three ways. The first is that she used her traditional currency, in this case dollars, to purchase local currency. If we go back to the store homepage, on the right side below the member sign-in area, there are 4 links. The last one is Add Redeem Mart Card Value. This links to a screen with options where a member can add or redeem value to her account online by using PayPal or by other means such as dealing with the local administrator directly and using cash or check to purchase local currency, or to redeem local currency, receiving dollars. In this case, Juanita, new member, chooses to purchase 500 Mart dollars using her PayPal account. Her PayPal account appears and she signs in, makes the purchase, and receives confirmation. A follow-up confirmation email is also sent to her. Her local currency is available immediately. Going back to the store homepage, Juanita wishes to view her transactions. Clicking on the View Transactions link, she can see that her account was set up with a zero balance and that she then purchased 500 Mart dollars and paid out $195 for purchasing 13 weekly shares from you, leaving a balance of $305. Notice that there are no transaction fees on her transactions. In the future, she can also go back and view her statements from past months. At any given time, Juanita can easily view her balance by just clicking on View Balance on the store home screen. Now let's go back to your account and view your transactions. Juanita emailed another member through the social networking site about Our Town Local Gardens, and her friend also bought 13 shares. So your Mart Card balance as a result of both transactions is now 390 Mart dollars. You have therefore obtained local currency by selling goods and services as opposed to purchasing it using your dollars. Notice again that there are no transaction fees on your transactions, so neither buyer nor seller has incurred any transaction fees, and they can continue to transact business using local currency indefinitely without fees. Fees may apply when redeeming local currency back to dollars or to the traditional currency in your country. Now, as we saw before, the local administrator has placed your ad on the social networking site, and rather than going through the LocalMart store to pay him, you have asked him to just send you an email as an informal invoice. He has sent you an email with his account number requesting 15 Mart dollars. On the home page of the store, you click on the Transfer Funds link, and a screen appears where you can enter his account number, the amount, a transaction memo, and your PIN. A confirmation screen allows you to review the transaction and then you submit it. As before, if you view your transactions, this transfer shows up immediately and your new balance is displayed. Of course, you might want to use the transfer funds capability to just loan or even donate some local currency to someone or to pay back a loan, and it works the same way for these purposes. Now, you might ask, don't you need to print a local currency that I can carry around for local purchases? While this is often one of the first tasks undertaken by a new local currency system, and it may be useful, we think that it may not be necessary, and it is certainly not very convenient to carry around both local currency and traditional currency. The advent of smartphones has made it possible to conduct transactions easily and rapidly, and LocalMart takes full advantage of these capabilities. Any smartphone with a 3-inch or larger screen can display the LocalMart screens very well, and viewing your balance, viewing transactions, transferring funds, and adding or redeeming value are easily accomplished. A purchase such as at a local merchant store or at a farmer's market can be accomplished easily by the transfer of funds using such a phone. As was mentioned before, there will be times when members need to convert local currency back into the traditional currency, and this can easily be done. However, this process also raises the larger issue of how much reliance must there be on traditional currency after a local currency is established. In other words, How often must members convert their local currency back into, say, dollars or pesos in order to purchase goods and services that are not available within the local currency system? At LocalMart, we analyzed this issue, and this led us to formulate a generalization, or a law, which we call the law of local currencies, and it is as follows. The degree of economic activity accounted for by a local currency cannot exceed the degree of economic self-sufficiency of the community in which it is used. In other words, if a community produces 5% of the goods and services that it consumes, probably a very generous estimate for most communities, then the local currency cannot account for more than 5% of the economic volume of that community, and at least 95% of the economic volume will have to use the traditional currency. It can be demonstrated that local currency systems have had very minimal economic penetration in the communities in which they operate, and we believe that this can be explained by the law of local currencies. There are, however, two remedies for this problem. The first is to assist and support the development, creation, and production of new, locally based sustainable enterprises, products, and services. The second remedy is to expand the realm of the local currency to a sufficiently large area such that economic self-sufficiency is approached within that area. The first remedy is being implemented through the setup of an organization called Better World Workshop. Its mission statement basically matches the wording of remedy number 1. The second remedy is easily implemented in the LocalMart system. LocalMart Neighboring Town is set up with their own social networking site. Their residents produce a wide variety of unique products and services, and these are listed in the LocalMart store, thereby increasing the self-sufficiency of the combined area of our town and neighboring town. This process continues, and proliferation of locally produced, sustainable products and services in our area increases to the point where the local currency can be used for an ever-expanding choice of goods and services. Looking at this from another perspective, your community has taken an important step towards insulating itself from some of the negative effects of globalization, and you have accomplished this at the grassroots level. Getting back to LocalMart Our Town, a number of members have now formed a new group in order to explore the idea of setting up a micro-lending facility so that members who wish to start a small business can apply for and obtain funds for their business ventures. The idea gains support and they form Micro-Lending Network, and they have placed an ad seeking capital to fund their lending project. You decide to invest a modest sum in their venture and do so after signing a simple agreement. Others also invest capital in Micro-Lending Network, and they begin to receive applications. 3 such applications are approved, all with the purpose of purchasing equipment and supplies to start small food processing businesses. These businesses all produce varied processed food items such as fresh fruit and vegetable juices, salad dressings, mayonnaise and other condiments, packaged dry soup mixes, and canned tomato sauces, jams, jellies, and other such items. These businesses all launch, and they purchase much of their produce from you, and you in turn purchase many of their products, and your investment in Micro-Lending Network has helped to serve both you and the recipients of the microloans. Well, you can see the process that we envision, of people helping people to bootstrap a local, sustainable, and self-sufficient economy using a local currency. LocalMart Our Town grows, and new members offer an expanding array of products and services in many varied categories, as do members from LocalMart Neighboring Town Number 1 and LocalMart Neighboring Town Number 2. Local employment and self-sufficiency increase, and disruptions from faraway financial and economic events are cushioned by this new economic independence. The impact of national recessions and job losses is reduced in proportion to the degree to which local self-sufficiency has been attained. Likewise, inflation of the traditional currency need not be reflected in the local currency, since there has been a degree of insulation from outside economic forces. The movement spreads to other communities, other regions, and other countries, and you have been an important part of an economic revolution which has been of benefit to you, to your community, and to future generations.